I made a recipe with kale one day, and the kale here was so beautiful. And I think there were like 3 of us just like in front of the kale, like admiring it and oohing and ahhing over it and how beautiful it was. And I just thought, you know, like who does that?
Oh, that's really cute. I love this. Once you shop here, you can't even like pick up a few things at Whole Foods because it's like, who grew this? Where did it come from? And
the suburbs were pushing out further and further, and were getting rid of the land in which people were growing things. Long Island had the best growing conditions for potatoes
and cauliflower.
And it was becoming suburbs and nurseries.
Right.
You know, and all the food production was being lost. And we were aware of that even from the beginning.
That's right.
We were looking to support the few who were left.
I think that if I accidentally ate some collards with some pesticides in it, or I eat in a restaurant, I don't think it's going to kill me, but I don't want to support the industry that grew it. All those pesticides are going into the land. They're killing animals, they're killing fish, they're killing birds, they're killing our water, and they're killing the soil, and they're killing the people who are working on the farms. So I'm a little bit less concerned with each tiny little chemical that enters me. I'm a little more concerned with each tiny little chemical that enters my daughter, and much more concerned about what's happening in that bigger picture.
It's called Lancaster Family Farms. They're in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. It's one of the oldest farmlands in the United States.
The produce comes from the Lancaster Family Fresh Cooperative. About 60 farms in Lancaster County participate. Each of these farms is small, and the farmers are mostly Amish. Because of their beliefs, the farmers do not drive any vehicles, but hire non-Amish workers like Justin to pick up and deliver their produce.
All these little farms have no way of getting here, but Justin.
why do you do this?
Because it's more fun than having a professional career.
They're going down.
But we want to let members know, even before they start shopping, which items came from local farms. And the green highlight lets them know what was grown locally. Today we have about 90 local items, which is pretty good this early in the season. But as we get closer to the peak of harvest, it'll be about 140 items. And I can show you some of them. What we have here is grown by a small farmer in upstate New York. It's not a gigantic farming operation, it's a bunch of little farms, and in season we support them, but then also let people know that if they can't afford this more expensive local salad mix, they still have the alternative of buying from California the cheaper alternatives. We have a lot of baby greens that came from small farms. This will grow up into being a purple kale, but these are young and tender. You'll very rarely find this in a supermarket. It's a very tiny crop, and we were lucky enough to try to buy all of it. We try to let people know which stuff is local on the shelf as well, and in this case can actually know the name of the farmer. Some members have met this farmer, Amy Hepworth. She delivered our strawberries on Saturday. Here a farmer has picked their lettuce while it was still very young. And we get tiny heads of very pretty lettuces. Local, 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 local. The whole bottom is local until broccoli.
There's just even the altruistic thing of helping your neighbor survive. And each parent wants their child to struggle less than they did. And if at the end of your farming career, all you have to show is debt to a bank and the need to sell pieces of your land just to survive, and maybe one of the parents taking a part-time job, and it's not a very bright future for their children. So if we, and I don't mean we the cooperative, we all consumers do everything we can to keep farmers going, there may be a more attractive future for the next generation of farmers.
I actually heard somewhere that a large percentage of farmers in the United States are over the age of 65, which I thought to myself, who's going to feed us in 10 years? I mean, no farms, no food, you know? And so knowing that, you know, I'm a young person, I'm able-bodied, and not many other people my age are getting into this, I was like, I mean, and I've been gardening my whole life, and I was thinking, why didn't I make this my occupation?
Yes, this is vegetables tamales. I'm Mexican. In Mexico, we make tamales like different kinds, like chicken, beef, and we usually make it for the holidays. It's a big Christmas, you know.
But now in America you have it.
And now in America we just buy it made already. You don't have enough. You don't have the time to bake them, you know. So that's.
Of course, there are many ways to prepare foods. Some cook, and others will only eat things raw. Some insist on using fresh ingredients, and others are happy to eat things straight out of the box. The co-op tries to accommodate their members' eclectic desires, habits, and sometimes even principles.
We purchase many of our health food items from a very big distributor called United Natural Food. And they're our biggest distributor by far. They provide the most food for us. And then we have a member suggestion book. They suggest products that they've seen in another store.
It's a fruit, it's an Asian fruit. It's full of good vitamins for energy.
I definitely give a big preference to products that are fairly traded, and especially like chocolate, rice, sugar. We sell a lot of fair traded sugar, and to organic, you know, organic products. But then sometimes now what they call organic is very confusing, like say a very big company like Cascadian. They could get something in China and another ingredient in Oregon and another ingredient someplace else, and then they put them all together in one box. So it's like, you know, yes, it's organic, but is it, you know, environmental friendly? So it's hard to know. And increasingly, even companies that start out smaller, they often are selling to a bigger company. You know, many companies are now owned by bigger corporations, like Coca-Cola could buy them, or Pepsi-Cola, or Hain. There are a lot of big, there's a lot of what's called consolidation in the food industry. But then when you look at other things, you know, all the food in the freezer, even if it's vegetarian, there's so much processing going on. It's so processed, those kind of fake meat. And now there's this whole issue of what is GMO and what is not GMO, and that's very confusing. And what percentage can be GMO, and because sometimes a company, they can't get organic nuts at a certain time of the year, and so they're Their bar might not have organic nuts, or it might have something else that's not organic that might be GMO. So it's impossible to keep track of, you know, especially products with a number of ingredients. So,
I was surprised actually to see Tide in co-op.
Right, but it's been there for a while.
I know. So, right, but you had told me
Right.
the vision.
Right.
is the health.
That's right.
So,
That's right. But the vision is also saying, what do you lead with? You lead with cooperation. And you see, so if some of the cooperators want to use their shelves, which we own together, to buy things like Tide, well, do you want to get rid of the Tide and make those people not feel welcome? Because really the most important thing about those people is that they're willing to cooperate and do their share of the work. And so you don't want to chase people away. We're a diverse co-op, and we have diverse wants. That cooperation is the most important thing about a person, not exactly what foods they want. Let's be respectful of each other's wishes to a certain extent. We're going to have some rules. You know, we won't carry Rice Krispies because it has BHA and BHT or one of those or both of them, and we have rules about that. That's listed as dangerous, not by the FDA, but by the Center for Science in the Public Interest. So we don't carry it.
the products offered at the co-op are the result of an ongoing dialogue among members. Members can call, write a suggestion in the suggestion book, send a comment to the editors of the co-op newsletter, or propose an idea at the general meeting. The general meeting, which takes place once a month, is one of the most important ways that collective decisions are made. All members are invited to come and participate. At the general meeting in 2003, a majority voted to take foie gras off the shelf after a member showed a visual presentation on the cruelty of producing foie gras. She considered the process used outside of the co-op meat purchasing guidelines. In 2004, a majority voted to ban Coca-Cola products. The boycott proposal claimed that the carrying their products violates the co-op mission to avoid exploitation, support healthy food, respect the environment, and oppose discrimination and inequality, all of which the Coca-Cola Company is guilty of. In 2008, a majority voted to remove bottled water. Instead, the co-op now carries water filters and reusable metal bottles. A number of products have been banned this way. On the other hand, members have held referendums proposing the sale of beer, for example, since the 1980s. Sale of beer was finally approved in 2002. So the products offered change as the community evolves.